super emotional to be back in here.
Yeah. There's a lot that went on in this room, and a lot of hurt was let go, and a lot of growing between us. Like my wife had mentioned in a conversation her and I had earlier today, it's like being back home or back to your home that has burnt down. And what we're doing is walking through the home, looking at what is left.
Just knowing that, we'll never have that part again, but knowing that something better has come of it. And, we have peace now, and we have God now. And, it's just all been so good. We made the decision to call for help. We needed someone to walk alongside us to, just show us the right way. And I guess we can start from the beginning. I'm Stephanie Padilla. This is my husband, Anthony.
Yes.
And so basically how we got here last year in July. Come on, without crying. Last year in July, my husband was just in a really dark place. And I just didn't see it. I was just doing my thing every day and working and being a wife and a mom. And, I just didn't realize he was just very depressed. And I knew he was a little different, but I just didn't really know why. And then one night it just got to where I didn't even know who he was. I didn't know what was happening. And he cried out. And first actually he lashed out. Then he left. Then he cried out. But, it all worked out the way it worked out. And, he confessed that he had been self-medicating, which really made me mad at first. I was just hurt. I felt very betrayed. I felt lost, confused, disappointed. But I knew I loved him. I knew I needed to help him. And it wasn't about me. And it was hard. That night he came back home. And I wanted to be so mad. But I just asked God to help me. Help me make the right decision. So we talked about it, and he promised, that things would be different. And it was for a couple months. Then we had a party, and everything bad happened that night. And I thought that was the lowest. That was the lowest it could go.
I don't even know where to begin. That night, I think it was everything. My depression, people in my life at the time that were triggers, mix alcohol in with it, and it puts you in a different place. And on top of that, you read messages, and it's when your mind is somewhere else off of either it's alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, you see it in that perspective. And we went from having a party to having real ugly fight to my family walking in on me in the garage. Getting ready to take my life because I felt like that failure. I was embarrassed, more embarrassed of the way I acted with my wife. Depression has you thinking different thoughts. And I just wanted to be gone and just done with. I figured they'd be a lot happier without me. And it was just all bad that night.
We have 7 kids. 3 are home. Our youngest 2 are ours together. They're 12 and 14. So they were home that night and pretty much saw and heard all the commotion. And when we finally got him back in the house, it just kind of turned ugly again. And the kids said, "Let's go." So my heart was so torn, you know. Of course, I wanted to help, but then I needed to think about my safety and their safety. And, you know, so packed up the kids at 2 o'clock in the morning, driving around, just the most hopeless feeling. And just, you know, crying out to God, like, why? Why is this happening? You know, protect us, help us. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. And ended up staying at my mom's, and the next morning I called to make sure he was okay. And, you know, he'd slept it off, and
I didn't sleep right away. I still contemplated and taking my life again. It was the embarrassment. I just wasn't right. Just wasn't right. And when I finally was able to talk with my wife that morning, we talked on the phone, and we agreed that she'd come back to the house and that I was going to make changes. It's still, I think about it at times that morning, you know, when the kids came home and they looked at me and the embarrassment that I had, seeing their faces, how sad they were. I've never, ever wanted to put my kids in that position. I never wanted to put my wife in that position. But we were able to talk alone and lay down the basis of how we're going to fix our marriage and us being together, what we needed to do. And one of the things had to be me being accountable for my actions. How is she going to trust me again as far as not using and not drinking and being a great father and a great husband again? So that day I decided I'm going to live a clean and sober life. Right? Mm-hmm. Since that day, I haven't touched any alcohol, no drugs. I turned to God.
Thank you.
Asked him for a chance. Just needed one chance. I said, if you give me this chance and you help me, I would be all yours, 110%. I'll do whatever I need to do. And I felt like he picked me back up and said, okay, let's go. And from that day is when everything just started falling into place. That Monday, I started a fast. I fasted for 3 days. And all I asked for was God, just give me a breakthrough in my marriage. That's all I wanted. just a breakthrough. That Friday, my wife and I both work from home, and I went over to her work area because she called me over, and she says that we're going to go ahead and get counseling. She agreed to it, but it has to be biblically based. And I looked up. I says, man, you work fast. That's what I said. You work fast. It was a breakthrough. It's what I asked for. So that was proof to me that he was there with me. And he was giving me that chance. And I had to trust God. And I've trusted him ever since.
I was just going to add that, during the weeks following, us, me coming home and us agreeing that, things needed to change. And, for me, I was just angry and just very, you have a lot to prove to me. You have a lot to prove to the kids. You have a lot to prove, just in general. I've always been a believer, but I was like, don't throw God at me, like fix it, like really fix it, And so I was kind of more like, I don't know if he's really going to do this. I don't know, but I was still praying for God to help me through it because I knew I wanted to stay and I knew I wanted to help and I knew I needed him to help me, But I didn't know about the fast. I didn't know he was fasting. And I kept really pushing, you need to get counseling. You need to go see a doctor. You need to go to NA, AA. You need to do all these things. And I'll support you, but you're the one who needs to get fixed. And I didn't realize that we were just all broken, and if we were going to be fixed, we needed to be fixed, not just him. And, he had talked about us doing some sort of counseling, talking to somebody, and I've just never been that way. This is weird, this is uncomfortable, and, but I'm just praying to God that this helps somebody, a wife out there who's afraid.
Husband that needs to call out for some help. Take back your family.
Yeah. It's scary. I've never been one to ask for help. I went to one session my entire life and was just, that's not me. So it wasn't for me. I thought it wasn't for me. And then I'm sitting there at my desk that Friday and I just got this feeling, this feeling that just came over me and it said, okay, do it, but it has to be with me. It has to be Bible based. And at first I was like, was that just the car that went by? Maybe it was just the air. I don't know. Is that really what you want me to do? Because I wasn't prepared. That wasn't something I was thinking about. I wanted him to get help. But God put it on me for us to get help. So I said, okay, I'm calling Vivian, calling First Love. We need some sort of help. So I made the call. And scary. It was scary when she called me back. But it was the best thing ever. And, honestly, I did it. And I don't think that my heart was really in it. It was just like, okay, I feel like I have to do this. I feel like, I need to show him that I'm trying to help him. I think it was more, me trying to talk myself out of it or, if this is what I have to do to fix him, if this is what I have to do for my family, then I'm going to do it. Not realizing that that's what I really felt or that's what I really needed. And I was just, trying to talk myself out of it. I don't know. But, so I went online and filled out the form. And when I got the call, I I was driving. I remember driving, and Vivian asked me, "What is it you want to get out of this?" And I said, "I don't know. I just don't want to get divorced." And I don't know that I even really meant that at that point. I was just on, just go with it mode, But little did I know that one call was going to change everything, And I think about it now. God already had it all in the works, And, when I got the call back and they said, "Okay, we have mentors for you." And I was like, "Oh no, this is really going to happen, And I was nervous, and then I think about it like, I don't know how long it's been in the works. It's way before any of this happened, I'm sure. But God had this couple planned for us. This whole thing was planned for us, And even though it sucks that it happened, I just hope that us sitting here and talking about it and being on the other side of it now, I hope it helps somebody, And, we got the call and we scheduled our date and we came here. And I didn't know what to expect.
I don't think our mentors knew what to expect either.
The thing is, we have pretty good conversation. We can talk to each other, but we get to a point where it's like a wall, And we just can't agree. We can't disagree, agree to disagree. So, coming in here, like I said, we didn't really have expectations. We knew what we were coming for, obviously, but what we got out of it was just so much more,
A lot of tools.
Yeah. And, we filled out this online assessment, and we sat in 2 different rooms.
Mad.
We were mad. We were ugly mad at each other.
We filled it out at the same day that we must have been arguing or something. I can't remember. But we were at each other. And I went into one area and she went to another. And I sat there and I answered all these questions. And, man, who would have known? And,
week by week coming in here, we went over this assessment. It's broken down into phases. So each week we had something. And the first week was basic introduction and, a little bit about why we're here, how broken we were and what we wanted to get out of it. And, the second week was all the meat and potatoes of the whole thing, And I wanted to leave him here, but
I was trying to run out that door, but I couldn't get there fast enough.
But it was, every week it just got better, and we learned big tools that we really took home and we really took to heart. And it's not something that you just come in here and they give you this pamphlet and you think everything's fixed. No, you have to do the work. You have to do the work. You have to, put God in the center. That's the very most important thing. You can't come in here and just talk and think you're getting around that. That's what it's about,
And that's what I said before we came into this. I says, if this is going to work, we have to bring God back into the center of our marriage, and then we go around that. And that's what we did.
Yeah. And it's funny now that we talk to our mentors, and, they're never going to get rid of us. We love them way too much. But it's funny because we talked to them and we're after that first meeting, they said, we called in all the reinforcements, every prayer group we could think of.
Everybody was praying for you guys.
And, it's funny to talk about now, but that's how desperate it was. That's how broken and bad.
We were very broken.
in need of God and in need of godly people and in need of, mentorship program and, like having this one available. Wish I could tell the whole world. I tell everybody how it's changed us and,
Yeah.
So going back to that assessment, we came in here and seeing the different weeks and like, oh yeah, we must have been real mad at that time, and but it was really a beautiful thing to see the progression of us as individuals, us as a couple, and really like digging in and letting God just use us and guide us and
yeah. You're on it, baby.
Yeah. And, not only is it something we're doing together, but we obviously brought it home and we talked to our kids about it. And I think it was from the first meeting or the second when we went home and we started praying every night with the kids?
We started the first. Even though we were still broken up, we had to pray. That had to be part of the whole deal, was starting to pray.
Yeah, I think that was another little tip that our mentors gave us, that they prayed with their kids. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, we're going to start doing that.
And it didn't matter if one parent or whoever was asleep somewhere. You go over there and you pray with them where they're at, even if they're sleeping. And we do that.
Yeah.
We do that.
Even if we are busy and the kids end up going to bed and they're asleep, we still go pray.
We go pray
but
with them.
We pray every night.
We do.
And even the kids have seen such a big change in us. We see a big change in our kids. Like,
yes, big time.
They're so happy and they're so loving. And I think one of the most beautiful things too is that our kids pray. Our kids want to pray every night. They listen to worship music.
Yeah.
We talk and we're accountable, and they tell us how proud they are of us for making this choice and following through and putting them first.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome.
It is. It is to, see where we started to where we're at today. I think if you would have met us back then, you would have seen smiles on our faces. There was a lot of hurt in our face. We smile a lot. We communicate a lot. We know how to talk to each other. I learned from myself from this how to communicate with others. Before I was more of I would react right away instead of thinking things through. Instead of talking, I'd be yelling. Now I do more talking. I think a lot of stuff through. My wife's feelings, they matter, to her. Her big thing was she wanted to be heard, and okay, yeah, I'm listening, but am I really listening? No, I don't think I was. I do now. I do now. There's a lot of things that we were able to accomplish in this program, and God, it's just so good. It's good today. It really is. It really is.
It is.
Like my wife said, you have to do the work. It isn't come here once a week and then, okay, I'll see you next week. You have to put the work in. You leave here, you go home, you pray every day. You have the one-on-one with God. Walk outside and just talk to him real fast. He's just been a big blessing in our marriage. Me personally, I see all the little small blessings that are coming from this. My wife has started to notice them as well. He's every day when I wake up and I have a minute to myself with him, I always ask him to put me where you need me. Use me where you need me. And he has put my wife and I in small little situations, and it's been really good. We've been able to talk with other couples and listen to them and say, okay, so I use some of the tools that my mentors used on us with them, and it helps. you're helping others. That's what we want to do now. We want to help others.
Yeah.
And with our story being out there, on the way here, I said, if we just reach one couple, it's a blessing. If we reach two, it's a home run for me. But when we spoke with Vivian, it's going to be a home run. It's going to be a grand slam. All these other couples that are going to hear our story. I mean, I really wish you would have known us before, how broken we were to where we are today. You'll see a big, huge difference. And
we still got little cracks. we actually, what was it, Wednesday? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Oh, when you're acting silly? Trying to?
Yeah.
She was trying to act silly. I was like, oh, God, here we go.
Yeah.
Work on her.
We were, we argued a little about something. And he even said, I'm not going to go record anything because we're not good. And I said, oh, we're going to record and they're going to know that they cannot be good too. It's okay to not be good all the time. We're not perfect people. He made a comment in one of our meetings. I just want everything to be perfect. And I'm like, whoa, that's not me. There's only one perfect one, and it is not me. And so, yeah. But one of our big things that we learned, our key thing was being intentional.
Yes.
And, that was one thing that we learned on day one or day two. And it's so weird how you hear it just constantly pop up and be intentional, And when you really are intentional, you know that you've prayed and God used me, and I'm so scared to say that, but I'm not perfect, and I want to be the realest representation of God and the church and, a broken but fixed, couple by the grace of God, and I just hope we help somebody. I hope that you're not alone, that it happens. We did talk about this at we did give our testimony once, and it was just amazing the amount of people that came to us afterwards and said, I've been there, I've gone through that, or I'm going through that. And, it was sad, but made me so happy at the same time to know, I know there's other people, but to be able to be comfortable enough because somebody said something, and to know that you have other people to talk to, or you have this beautiful mentorship program that you can come to, and it's not the end of everything. It's a small valley, but there's a big hill on the other side. And
if you guys are struggling and you're looking for help, First Love is a great place to start.
Give you all the tools, amazing mentors, and it doesn't stop there. There's so many more things.
We're proof. We're proof.
Get all the info in the caption.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. That's us.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you. Love you more.